Had The Amazing Spider-Man 2 not had such a huge backlash, Sony was ready to proceed with The Amazing Spider-Man 3. And of course, everything that led to the reboot was compounded on and sped up by that giant hack and leak. And as we recently learned, thanks to the story of Marvel Studios, Sony actually invited Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios over to pitch them The Amazing Spider-Man 3. So in the story of Marvel Studios, the making of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they go into some details in regards to those early days of Spider-Man and how things were shaping up behind the scenes and what was going on. And they even talk a little bit about what was going on with Sony and the Spider-Man franchise. One thing that stood out to me was the fact that Kevin Feige talks about the fact that he did have meetings arranged with Sony and of course with the likes of Amy Pascal, who was overlooking everything with Spider-Man and calling all the big shots, trying to line everything up. And as we know, and it's briefly touched upon, there was that moment when The Amazing Spider-Man 2 was entering pre-production and Feige sent him back a giant email with all his creative ideas, where he just outright told them, yeah, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, you guys should cut out all of this and not do any of this because it's terrible and your movie's gonna bomb. They didn't listen, and that caused some friction. Well, as it turns out, after The Amazing Spider-Man 2 saw, well, the bombing that it did after it bombed, let's put it that way, and the critics didn't like it, and suddenly there was this shift of people don't want any more Spider-Man. Marvel Studios, Kevin Feige specifically, was invited by Amy Pascal to discuss ideas and what to do with The Amazing Spider-Man 3. Now, they don't go fully into it, but it's definitely hinted in this book that it looks like Sony was trying to get Marvel Studios' help on The Amazing Spider-Man 3, but we don't know to what degree, whether it would have been a story thing, whether it would have been maybe let's try to fit it into the MCU now, considering that Marvel Studios tried with TASM 1, but Sony turned them down. We just don't have the full context of it, but it's something that was going on. There was this idea that Sony was still trying to salvage their Venom spin-off, the Sinister Six, the Aunt May film, the Black Cat film at the time, and a couple other things, and they were even willing to hear out Marvel Studios and Feige over what ideas they could bring to the table, which, could you guys imagine how that would have played out if that was the only choice and Feige was like, well, I guess if I want Spider-Man, I gotta bring TASM 3 into our universe. Could you imagine that headache and trying to make that work and all their plans there? I mean, it would have been hard. I'm pretty sure they could have done it, but that is a wild idea and story for what could have been.